Hey guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for the week of November 23rd. This is my book haul for the last 2 weeks. As you can tell, I am sick. I've had I think it's a couple different colds over the last couple weeks, so I've been trying to wait till I'm better to do this video, but I am just not getting better. So I traveled for work last week and came back and was sick, and I felt a little bit better beginning this week, and yesterday I started feeling really sick again, so I don't know. I guess I'm just sick, and I'll just have to get better over time. I don't know what else to say. I did get a few books over the last couple weeks. One of them was for review, and that one is one I was very excited to get. This is the second book in the Dead India graphic novel series, The Broken Halo by Hamish Steele. I really enjoyed the first one. I just finished reading this one last night. It was very good. This is all about a hotel that has an elevator to the different levels of hell and heaven in it, and they get a lot of visiting demons who come to Earth to vacation. Very funny, a lot of weirdness in this, a lot of quirky, weird characters. Very funny. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just kind of one that I like because it's so off the wall. I really enjoy the illustration in here. It's very bright and colorful. Overall, I would recommend it. I would say older young adult to adult, though, because some of it gets a little bit strange. But very creative. Really liked it. Again, if you like fantasy sci-fi, like graphic novels, that's a pretty funny one. All right. I did buy 2 graphic novels, and that is the next couple 3-in-1 omnibuses of the Full Metal Alchemist series, 13, 14, 15, and 16, 17, 18. Like this. Again, my whole family has been reading these, and I actually stack my books on my desk that I get over the couple weeks so I can do a video about them, and I realized that one of them was missing, and my son found out I had bought this. It came yesterday, and he decided to take it to my office and steal it so he could start reading it. So, he really likes the series. I really like it. We're all really enjoying it. My husband finally started reading it and was like, oh, this is pretty good. So, yeah, those are the next 2 I got. The next one I swapped through Paperback Swap, and I don't do as much swapping through Paperback Swap because it just takes so long to get books, but I do maintain a wish list on there, and I occasionally get books off of it. So this was one of those, and that is The Lonely Ones by Kelsey Sutton. This is the only Kelsey Sutton book I have not read. I really enjoy, she's a little out there, but she's very creative, and I really enjoy how interesting her stories are. Now, I did not realize that this whole book is actually told in verse, which I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I have nothing against poetry or verse. I just prefer reading full-length stories, but I'm eager to see how this turns out because it is supposed to be a story about a girl who kind of loses herself in her own monstrous creations, and I think it'll be very interesting to read. And I say that in a positive way. A lot of people when Minnesotans say interesting, they mean bad, but I actually am interested in reading that one. All right, then I did get 2 books from the library as well, and I have finished one of them, and I'm in the middle of reading that one. The first one I got from the library is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. Emily Lloyd Jones also wrote The Hearts We Sold. I think that's what it was called. And I really liked that book. I was really surprised. I got it in an out crate, and I was just super surprised at how much I liked it. So I was really, really excited to read The Bone Houses, and I loved this book. This was probably one of my favorite books of the year, and I'm not quite sure why it resonated with me so strongly, but I just really enjoyed it. It's a dark fantasy novel about a girl who's a gravedigger and a young man who's a map maker, and they end up going on this big adventure to try to figure out why the dead are coming back to life. And the dead have come back to life for a long time in this area of the world, but they're getting really aggressive and attacking people now. And it was I just love the way it was written. I love the characters. I love the world. I love the adventure they go on. I loved everything about this book, and I loved it from like the first chapter, and I read it pretty fast, and then I was immediately disappointed when I finished it because I wanted it to be a series. Like, I want to read more about this world and these characters so bad. So I did get this from the library, but it might be one that I end up going to buy because I want to read it again. So yeah, I really like this a lot. If you like The Heart to Be Sold and you really enjoy like adventure fantasy, I think you'll really love this one. I love her writing, and I'm actually thinking about getting her other. She wrote like I think it was like a dystopian sci-fi type of series, and I'm going to get that too because I was just so impressed with this book. I just loved it. The second one I got from the library is The House of Furies by Madeline Rue. I don't know how you say that. I am in the middle of reading this one, and so far I'm enjoying this one as well. This is about a young woman who runs away from a boarding school where she's been abused, and an old crone on the road kind of picks her up and hires her to be a maid at this kind of strange, like, wayside / inn. I haven't gotten very far into it, but things are weird in this house. And I guess part of what I really enjoyed about this book is it's one of those books that I'm happy I got in paperback format because it's just very like beautiful and very nicely put together. I like the printing and the different colors of the inks and the neat pictures in between pages. So it's very well put together. The writing flows very nicely. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I picked this up kind of randomly because I actually picked up a book that caught my eye in the library that ended up being the third book in the series. And I didn't read it. I took it back. I didn't realize it was the third book in the series. And so because that one caught my eye, I kind of went back and found the first book in the series. So I will say I like the new covers released in these. This is the old cover series. I think the new cover matches the story a little bit better. But yeah, let's see what I got from the library. Then I did get 4 audiobooks from Audible Escapes. I mentioned a few posts ago that I have been trying out the Audible Escapes. And the way that works is you pay an extra like $7 a month to get unlimited access to the Audio Escapes audiobooks. And you can borrow up to 10 audiobooks a time from Audible Escapes. And this is on top of your Audible membership. So I do have a platinum audio membership because I have a long drive. And a lot of times when I'm doing like testing or stuff at work, I will listen to audiobooks as well. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And I actually ran out, like I used all 24 of my platinum credits this year. So I was trying to figure out a way to get more audiobooks. And I realized for like $6 a month, I can listen to the Audible Escapes. It doesn't really help. My son is actually listening to a lot of audiobooks too. So like some of my credits were used for books that he wanted to get and listen to because he listens to them on the bus and when he's running and stuff like that. So anyways, that's a very long explanation. I will comment a little bit on Audible Escapes. So far, I feel kind of mixed about it. There's some things that they do that I don't like. One of the things they do that really bothers me is when you look at the list of like audiobooks available for Escapes, it's really hard to navigate. They like want you to look at it by theme or something. Like you can pick like what kind of romance you're interested in or what kind of setting. So you can do like fantasy sci-fi or you can do like new love, married love. It's kind of weird. And then when you do go through, so like if I pick, I want to read fantasy romance, as you're scrolling through it, like I like some romance, but I'm not like a huge romance person. So I'll see a book, I'll be like, oh, that looks a little less romancy. That looks interesting. And then you go over to say like add it to my library and you realize it's not part of Audible Escapes. So they kind of seed the list with stuff that they think you would like that's not actually in Audible Escapes. So you got to be kind of careful. Like you can't add that one to your library for free. You have to add it with a credit or buy it, right? And it's not, I think it's a little sneaky. The other thing I found that they've done a couple times to me is they'll put the first book of a series on Audible Escapes, so you can get that one through your Audible Escapes subscription. But then if you want to listen to any of the rest of the series, you have to use credits or buy those books. So I guess if you're interested in trying out the service, I'd be very careful with those two things. Just make sure you're not like make sure if you're interested in a series, you just click on the series link and make sure when you bring up the series, all of those are in Audible Escapes, so you're not getting kind of baited into like getting the first book as part of the service, and then the rest you have to buy. And then also just make sure when you go to click on it that you're paying attention and you're not accidentally using a credit versus adding it to your library with your under your Audible Escapes membership. The quality of the books have been, like, the narration has been fine. There's a lot of like lower quality stories in there, though. I think there's a lot of books that like on Goodreads would get like 3 stars versus like really stellar audiobooks. So in general, I feel like the quality of the books available on Audible Escapes is not as good as the rest of the site. And a lot of them are very romancy, and there's a lot of trashy stuff. I mean, like, I'm not saying anything against trashy romance, but there's some very poorly written romance on there. That being said, I have run across a couple I've really liked. I listened to like When Dimple Met Rishi. That was a very, very fun, cute, like contemporary young adult romance. There are like the Lady Julia Gray series is on there, and the Archangel, or there's another one. That's a pretty famous like paranormal series that's on there. So there are some good series on there. So all this is a prelude to say that I did go ahead and borrow 4 more audiobooks through Audible Escapes, and I'm going to go through those now. And the first one is one I'm actually really excited to read, because Daniel Jensen wrote another fantasy series that involved like trolls and magic and stuff that I'm blanking on that I really loved. And this is a new series by her called The Bridge Kingdom. So this is by Daniel Jensen, and it's the first book in this new Bridge Kingdom series. And it came out pretty recently, and I was surprised to see it on Audible Escapes, and I'm really excited to read it, and it's getting really stellar reviews both on Goodreads and on Audible. So I think this will be a good one, and I'm excited about that because I've been somewhat disappointed in a lot of the books I've got through Audible Escapes. The next one I got through Audible Escapes is The Medium by C.J. Archer. C.J. Archer also writes the Glass and Steel series, which I am reading on Audible, and I have been enjoying quite a bit. The problem is that one is not on Audible Escapes, and there's a lot of books in it, so I don't have credits to do it right now, so I thought I'd check out another one of her series. So this is kind of like a historical, paranormal romance type of book, I think. So I will say C.J. Archer has like the best covers for her books. They all are just beautiful. But I'm excited to read this and see if I like that. I also picked up this book called The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This was in the young adult / new love section of Audible Escapes. And I am a fan of Casey West. I really liked her Pivot Point series, which was science fiction. This is a contemporary young adult romance. And I'm listening to it right now, and so far it's been good. It's like one of those just like cute, like feel good, kind of quirky, contemporary young adult romances. Pretty easy read. It's narrated very nicely, so far I am enjoying this one. And then the last one I got through Audible Escapes is The Gifting by K.E. Gainshurt, and this one seems to be like a young adult paranormal thing. And I think this is another like self-published author, but this whole series is on Audible Escapes. It's a trilogy, and it has been getting really, really good reviews. Again, both on Goodreads and Audible. And that's another thing I would recommend if you're going to use Audible Escapes is just put the book into Goodreads real quick and see if it's getting decent reviews, because the reviews on Amazon or Audible seem to be really inflated. There's been a couple books, like I just finished one called The Dark Diary that had really stellar reviews on Audible, and I hated that book. I thought it was so dumb. And then when I put it in on Goodreads, yeah, a lot of people hated that book. So it was just one of those things where I think it's overinflated on Audible, the reviews are. So it's kind of a long digression. But those are the books I got this week. So there was one for review, 2 I bought, 1 I swapped, 2 from the library, and then 4 audiobooks. So 10 books over the last couple weeks. I am doing very good at keeping my to-be-read pile right around like 10 books. And that's a level I feel comfortable with. I don't like going under that a whole lot because I just like having a week or 2 of books around to read. Other than that, we're having weird weather here in Minnesota, normal stuff. Like it was cold and it snowed, and now it's been warmer and raining. And then yesterday it was snowing and then raining and then snowing. So it doesn't really know what it wants to do. We are getting pretty heavy into hockey season. My son's team did win his first 2 games, which was great. And then they lost the 3rd game, but it was against a really tough team. And we were all happy to see the team really kept trying through the whole game and really put in a lot of effort. So pretty happy with this hockey team this year and how things are going with that. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say. My throat's kind of hurting and I'm ready to be done talking. So I will talk to you guys probably not next week because we have a hockey tournament away. But the week after, again, I feel like I've been doing these posts more like every 2 weeks just because things have been really busy for me right now. You can see we have like some Christmas presents in the back. We have started our Christmas shopping and trying to get that done. So I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving since I probably won't talk to you next week. Hope you got a lot of great books and have a great week reading them. And I will talk to you later. All right, bye.